Well, hello folks, this is Randy, and if you're new to my channel, I do some hiking, I do camping, I do metal detecting, and magnet fishing. And today I'm out in just a small little park here in my hometown. It's called Big Rock Park, and I'll show you a picture of the big rock here later. But what I wanted to do today is share with you a short story that I wrote about my dog Dolly. We spent many hours walking through this park and she just loved it. So I wrote a short story about an experience we had one day, and I did that after she had passed away from cancer. We had to put her to sleep. But it's been, probably 15 years. But I just got to thinking while I was out here today, I should see if I can share this on video. So I will attempt to do that. So enjoy the short story. I hope it'll all fit in here. And listen on. Just a walk in the park. On a sunny Sunday afternoon, I decided to head out for a walk to a park on the edge of civilization. It was in its natural state for the most part, except for the paths cut through the trees and brush, an occasional sign that was mostly faded out, and a few bridges that made passage over the creek that flowed through the park. There were many cars in the parking area, and I was disappointed that I would not find the peace and solitude that I was looking for today. But to my amazement, I traveled a path that no one else was on. I became aware of a lot of things that were new to me. There were old trees scattered through dense vegetation, reaching up to the sky with outstretched branches, embracing the sun and wind. They stood strong and tall, and I wondered what these trees must have experienced in their lifetime. There were also many young trees that were stretching up through the void of the older trees' branches, and even younger trees filling their void, all accepting the life-giving nutrients from the same soil as the other trees. I thought to myself, that is not much different from humanity. We as people are much the same. We need to live from the same nutrients and struggle for space to live. We spread out and cover the face of the earth, trying to eke out an existence in other people's void. The park looked to be in turmoil, with its vegetation growing everywhere, all different but coexisting. I observed two huge oak trees growing side by side, not more than 2 feet apart from each other, growing straight and strong. What harmony! There were old dead trees that had fallen, but were held up by their neighbors, while others had fallen to the ground to rejoin the soil which had given it life. This reminded me of people holding others up who had fallen, but we keep them in our memories so that they are not forgotten. One part of the park that I walked through was occupied by young growth maple trees, I think, but they grew 30 to 40 feet straight up before limbs reached out to the heavens. They seemed to be reaching to get to the best light, rain, and wind. As I walked, I chose a path that I would take, and my experiences were good and observations were meaningful, but I was concentrating on leading and choosing the path and not observing. I had a trusted friend with me and chose to let her choose the path after we had circled back from a dead end. I led one more turn and let her set a course in speed at which we traveled. She was interested in a much smaller picture than I was, looking at more detail than I. I tried, but there was too much to take in, but I observed that she stopped frequently to look carefully at things that caught her attention, then moved on. So by her lead, I tried to focus on specific things in detail and then move on to the next. All of a sudden, I saw red berries hanging from a branch. These would be life this winter for a bird or some other wildlife. I watched a single leaf fall from the tree to the ground. So many other things, I could not take them all in. I wanted to be able to capture this in writing to observe it, but I had no pen or paper with which to document my experiences. I was really feeling creative and wanted to hurry back to the car to find a pencil and paper with which to capture the sights and feelings. I quieted my heart and stayed on my following path. There I met a young couple who were speedily hurrying along a path in the opposite direction. They passed by quickly, just exchanging hays as they passed. I thought how quickly I moved down my path sometimes in my own little world, just as I am today. Only I'm slowing down and trying to listen and observe my surroundings. Before I knew it, I was back to the car. My trusted leader had led me there on a path she had never trod. I got her a drink of water and proceeded to look for a piece of paper and pen. The glove box looked like the woods that I had just stepped out of. Disorganized organization. I found this paper folded in fours, but no pen. I searched everywhere, but nothing. I dug under the seats, nothing. I looked between the seats, and to my amazement was this very pen wedged in the back mounting bracket of the passenger seat. I was in luck. Now, where to write this little experience? Trusting my friend, I let her lead me again on a new path of her choosing, hoping for another tree along the path that had fallen and would make a fine chair on which to sit and write. The path took us through some very old growth with lots of room, but this must have been cleared at one time, as there was a lack of undergrowth and small trees. We came to a steep decline along the creek, and my eyes spotted a fallen tree up on the hill a ways, which I chose to sit and write this short story. My inner critic says that I'm not much of a writer, but I'm glad that I took the chance. I just hope that all of you are willing to take a chance to be creatives in some way that is new to you.